Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. So in a world where change is the constant, people definitely need imaginative thinking and a new perspective to problem solving. That's why I'm joined by creativity and innovation expert, Dr. Roger Firestien, who is offering a powerful tool for achieving goals and visions in a fantastic book called Why Didn't I Think of That? Better Ideas in Decision Making at Home and at Work. Dr. Firestien, welcome to the program.
Thanks. It's a delight to be here.
It's a delight to have you. So I love innovation. We were just having that conversation just before the break. Mm-hmm. And, I ask that question all the time. Why didn't I think of that? In fact, as I look around, and our listeners can't see my environment, but pretty much everything that's on my desk and in my office are all things that I say, why didn't I think of that? So Roger, behind every good author, there's always a story. And especially behind every good title, there's always a story. Roger, what's your story?
Well, let's see. I've been in the creativity and innovation business for about 40 years. I'm the senior faculty at the Center for Applied Imagination at SUNY Buffalo State. And why didn't I think of that is what you have is a re-release of my first book, which is Why Didn't I Think of That? It's been updated. I also have another book out called Create in a Flash, a leader's recipe for breakthrough innovation. That one just came out, but why didn't I think of that? Is a little creativity fable that really takes a look at the things that tend to get in the way of our creativity, the things that can help our creativity. And we use the example of a company called the Big Black and White Company. And their motto is, we are the big black and white company. We do the thing. We have the time-honored tradition of doing things the way we've always done them before. And in this little fable, this other company comes onto the scene called the Color Company, and the Big Black and White Company is stymied. And so in that, we teach 10 methods to help people to become more innovative, more creative, such as deferring judgment when they're generating ideas, asking creative questions, looking at the strengths of ideas first. And this little book came to me about 3:00 in the morning in Washington, D.C., back in 1986. This is the fourth printing of it, but we've re-updated it and added brand new features to it and a new bonus section. So that's that book, and Create in a Flash is my other one that has videos that are accompanying it. So that's kind of the story behind it.
Well, Roger, I mean, with a re-release of a book, I would think that probably between the initial release and the re-release, you probably have thought of all of the good ideas. You've probably made, millions and billions of dollars by releasing everything. But no, all kidding aside, you break down, and I don't want to share all of the secrets of the book, because you break down the creativity process into 10 rules. And we have a short conversation over here, and I don't want to go through everything. Sure. But what is it that's in the psyche of an innovator that others don't have, and how can people adapt to sort of develop that creative problem solving process?
Yeah, you know what? And let me tell you a story about this, because this is just really kind of new in my experience. A couple months ago, I was speaking at a virtual conference, and I was talking about Create in a Flash. I was talking about the re-release of Why Didn't I Think of That? We've also just released a 9-part series on innovation on the Open Sesame online learning platform that we're really excited about. And as I was reviewing some of these things with the group, this question came up. And the question was from one of the participants. He said, how do you move from a one-off creative team meeting or from your program to internalizing principles of creativity in your work and life? And I got to tell you, Shalom, the first, when I heard that, I was actually stymied, because I've been in this business for 44 years. This is just the way I think about things. But then one of my brilliant graduate students, she saved me, and she said, learn the language of creativity. Learn the language of creativity. And so one piece of the language of creativity is asking creative questions. Because if you want creative ideas, you need creative questions. And because the language we use to describe a problem is really going to dictate the kinds of solutions that we're going to generate. And let me give you an example. Let's say somebody says, we don't have any money. Good or bad question? Well, that's a bad question. As a matter of fact, it's a statement. And when you hear that statement, your brain says, okay, we don't have any money, decision made, move on. Now let's try the language of creativity. And we talk about this and why didn't I think of that? And we'll be saying phrases like what might or how to at the beginning of our sentences. So something like, how might we raise the money for the project? Or what are all the ways we might reduce the cost of the project? Now just think about that. Just phrasing a question in that way changes the whole energy, and it sends a message to your brain that says, go search for your ideas. So we don't have enough money. Your brain stops thinking, how might we raise the money? How might we reduce the cost? What might be what might be all the ways we can get people to contribute to this idea? That changes your thinking dramatically. It diffuses difficult conversations. It lowers judgment. So just by asking open-ended questions that begin with how to, or how might, or what might be all the ways to, it is creating the language of possibilities. So that's one thing that we talk about in the book that's really, really powerful.
That is incredibly powerful, and you share a lot of different examples of how people and companies have applied these principles that are explored in the book to their professional and personal lives. And I agree that money is, there are so many creative. It's a mindset, and it's a creative process, as you say, the CPS, the creative problem solving process, which is great. And Roger, I know you are very, very proud of your students. You mentioned that I think right before we came online over here, as you said a moment ago, you're senior faculty and associate professor at the Center for Applied Imagination at SUNY Buffalo State. So what does a classroom environment with a Dr. Roger Firestien look like? Is it just all of the future Fortune 100 companies, CEOs all in one room?
Yes, all of the Fortune 100 company CEOs are in the same room together. Yeah, right. Here's the deal. We have a mix of people. So, for example, we have people from all aspects of life. We'll have doctors in there. We'll have lawyers in there. We'll have musicians. We'll have SEO people. We'll have teachers. We'll have artists. We'll have educators. People from all different aspects of life take courses in creative studies with us because we teach a general process, and the process follows your natural thinking. Get some data, figure out what the problem is by asking creative questions, generate some ideas, select those ideas, and then put them into action. The environment in a creative studies classroom or in a creativity classroom is where people are in small groups. We have stuff on the table for people to play with. Silly putty and Play-Doh and Legos, because one of the things that we know is that people learn by doing. So if you're manipulating something or if you're experimenting with something with your hands, you're going to be more relaxed. You're going to learn better. We also have a lot of pictures around because we make connections with pictures. So say you're working on a particular problem and you get stuck. Well, what ideas might you get? Let's try this, for example. Say you're trying to improve a bathtub. Well, what ideas might you get from looking at a banana? Well, make the bathtub yellow, or change the shape of the tub, or make it have a soft bottom, or have a bunch of your friends over. Or you look at an airplane cockpit, make a bathtub flying, that sort of thing. So those are little warm-up activities that we do to get people then focused on the real challenges at hand. The key thing in a creativity classroom is we work on stuff that's relevant to the participants. So we don't work on case problems. You bring in a challenge that you want to work on, whether it's a small business problem, as many people in your audience might be interested in, whether it's a problem with how you're educating your students. You bring that in, we apply the creative process to that, and it is amazing the energy that people get as a result of applying this process to stuff that's real to them.
I'm chatting with Dr. Roger Firestien, the author of Why Didn't I Think of That? And Creating a Flash, a Leader's Recipe for Breakthrough Innovation. And Roger, I have one more question for you in our 1 minute remaining, the $1 million question. What is the one thing that our listeners, entrepreneurs tuning in to get down to business, should put into practice this week?
First thing is defer judgment. Don't judge your ideas when you come up with them. So if you're stuck on a problem, generate 10, 15, 20 ideas. Go beyond the obvious, make connections. Take a look at the problem that you're working on and look at something that's not related. But I'd say the most important thing is ask creative questions. What might be all the ways to? How might I? How to?
Well, there's some homework for everybody to put into practice. Ask those creative questions and pick up a copy of the book, too. That's your other homework as well. Why didn't I think of that? Better ideas in decision-making at home and at work. And by the way, I love that is at home and at work. It's not just to make money, but it is actually something that can affect your personal life as well. Roger, you are a pleasure, my friend. How can people pick up copies of the book and get in touch with you?
Both of them are on Amazon, or you can also go to my website, Roger Firestien, Firestien.com. And when you order the hard copy from my website, I'll sign it for you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, wow, I better get on that. Again, the author of the book, Why Didn't I Think of That? And Create in a Flash, get on Amazon, pick up a copy of the book. Roger Firestien, thanks so much for joining us. We will be
Thank you.
sure to have you back real soon. We are going to squeeze in headlines, a quick break. When we come back, we will talk more small business jobs and entrepreneurship. Be sure to check out our sponsors. ChicagoSignatureLimo.com and HealthPlanChicago.com. Again, the gurus of everything health insurance and transportation. Get on my website, ShalomKlein.com. That's where you can download podcasts from the past 8+ years of shows. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.